Mahoraga has a ton of moves in his moveset when you think about it. He has 3 moves that are set in stone, 1, 2 technically if you're counting the light parry, but I don't, when you count his parry, and 3 more on top of that, which are all versions of his 4th move. Because of that, I thought it'd be a good idea to go and rank all of these different moves off of how strong they are and how important they are in Mahoraga's movesets. Before we start ranking though, make sure to subscribe for informational JJS content. Now, let's start ranking. Starting off the bottom of the list is Adaptation, which in my opinion is the worst move Mahoraga has. Adaptation's problem is that it takes way too long to actually give the user any payoff, requiring about 3 uses to get respectable damage reduction, and it also requires the user to get hit, which is a very difficult condition to fulfill compared to the rest of Mahoraga's moves where he just needs to combo into it. Adding on to that, there's no counter on the move, meaning Mahoraga has to willingly let himself get comboed to get the damage reduction, meaning he takes a lot of damage, and this move shares a cooldown with World Slash, which automatically makes it terrible because World Slash is so good. You are never going to get far enough into a fight to where Adaptation will give you any value, and there's no point to it when you can pull off a 1 combo with World Slash to just end things immediately. The move has no reason to exist besides fun private server moments where you give Mahoraga no cooldowns and make him immortal by intentionally triggering his adaptation for some funny boss event. After Adaptation is Takedown, which also isn't that great. Takedown is a move that at higher levels of play gives your opponent a free combo since the move can be interrupted with M1s after the teleport. It does very low damage, and the high knockback on it makes following the move up with anything extremely difficult, meaning that even if you do land it, you don't get anything except some more mode. Finally, the true nail in the coffin that makes this move bad is the fact that it shares a cooldown with World Slash, which is one of the best moves in the game, meaning that by using this, you're actively making a choice to not use World Slash, which is a choice that would only be made by someone trying to make fun of their opponent because the difference between the moves in terms of power is night and day. Takedown gives your opponent a free combo when used against good players, and gives you some extra awakening alongside some meaningless damage on bad ones. The only reason this isn't at the bottom of the list is because that extra awakening can really save you if you're in a bad spot and need it urgently. But if you're at that point, you're already kinda screwed, and it doesn't help you maintain pressure either, so you're just gonna end up in that same spot, most likely after you knock them 5 miles away. Also, before someone in the comments tries and tells me that World Slash has a longer cooldown than both of these moves, yes, I know, but that shorter cooldown still doesn't make up for how mid Takedown and Adaptation are. Mahoraga's defensive mode Parry is the next best move in his kit, and pretty far down on the rankings, but it's not bad. I'm only going to talk about the heavy parry here, because the light parry is basically just the same thing but worse. The heavy parry is a high damage counter that knocks whoever is hit by it away, and while the timing window for it isn't too long, the reward for landing it is pretty good. The parry itself can also block a lot of attacks, so it can be a real lifesaver in fights against characters with high windup, high damage attacks, like Sukuna or Gojo's Fire Arrow or Hollow Purple. However, it's still a very high skill move that isn't easy to use, and switching to defensive mode on reaction to a move being used isn't a viable counterplay to that many moves, since most other moves like Reversal Ride Maximum or Rush move too fast for Mahoraga to switch to defensive mode and then parry to hit. Of course, this is solved by staying in defensive mode, but that's not a viable option when Mahoraga needs to be offensive to keep his ultimate bar up. The fact that Mahoraga is designed for offense hurts the parry, which is a defensive move, just a little bit, but it doesn't make it that bad of a move. It's just not too viable when Mahoraga can easily get by through simply Unga Boongling whatever is in his path. Divine Pummel is the 4th best move on this list, or, if you want to look at it negatively, the worst of Mahoraga's first 3 unchanging base moves. Divine Pummel itself is the most bare-bones simple move to exist. It's a guard-breaking grab that ragdolls and does okay damage. Even though it's only good for combos, that isn't a big negative when Mahoraga can very easily get combos, and when it's so easy to combo into, and doesn't really hurt to land it in any way, there's no real reason to not use it once you've landed an M1 on someone. It's a move that exists, and that's a lot better than moves like Takedown or Adaptation, which actively hurts you by taking up the cooldown for World Slash, or moves like the Parry, which require you to go out of your way and stop attacking to effectively use them. Ground Pitch is the 3rd best Mahoraga move, and to be honest, I was debating switching this with Earthquake because both Ground Pitch and Earthquake could fit as being the 2nd best move. I put Ground Pitch lower than Earthquake in the end, because Earthquake has a lot of AoE that makes it really good for hitting people around you, while Ground Pitch doesn't really have that, and the Rock Throw is too garbage for me to count it as a range attack. However, the up-close grab that Ground Pitch does is amazing, doing a lot of damage, and the follow-up throw can confirm into World Slash for a very easy guaranteed combo. The only downside to the throw that I have is that it sends people away, which makes it easier for people to run away from you. But that's not that big of an issue since it can throw people into walls or just close the distance for your dash, or even follow it up with World Slash for that one combo. It's a solid combo tool that's easy to land and does high damage. Earthquake is Mahoraga's second best move, and I give it that position because of its high damage, good combo potential that lets it confirm into Divine Pummel or Ground Pitch, and the AoE that it has, which lets it sort of work from a distance. The only big downside to the move is that you have to do a quick time event to get the full benefits, but for people who are good at the game, it's really not that hard. If you can't do the quick time event for some reason, then Ground Pitch is the better move, but if you can do the minigame and get that massive AoE follow-up, Earthquake is a really powerful tool for combos and doing damage in general. Finally, World Slash is Mahoraga's best move, and it's not even close. This thing is a textbook definition of an ultimate. It does ludicrously high damage, has a massive hitbox that is pretty much unavoidable, especially if you decide to combo into it, and startup that's quick enough to be very difficult to interrupt, as long as you're not using it in someone's face, with a high enough cooldown to balance it out. It's a free erasure of your opponent's health bar, which is a really good thing in a fight, since you can use it to confirm kills if you can get someone under a little over half of their HP. This move makes up for over a quarter of the damage in Mahoraga's one-shot combo, and while I can keep yapping about the move, there's no real point in that, since if you play this game and have fought Mahoraga, you already understand why this move is so good. So with that, those are all of the rankings. They're completely my opinion, so feel free to disagree with me. And if you have an actual reason for disagreeing, it's welcome in the comments. Keyword actual reason. Anyways, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the video, please like to help with the algorithm and subscribe for more content. I'm Noob Eternally, hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time in another video. Bye.